My name's Rohan, and I'm gonna play a game with you. Hold on, bear with me for just a second. I'm gonna say a word, and then you tell me the first thing that pops into your head. You ready? Healthcare. You probably thought of a wide variety of things. From annual well checkups to impassioned Bernie Sanders speeches, healthcare permeates every aspect of our lives. However, a few people might think of it a little differently. They might think of it as an endless barrage of bills, a system that wasn't designed for them. These people might be people you see every day, people you talk to, people you're friends with, and people who you're family with. This is especially true for people who live right here in Houston, especially for the black and brown, traditionally marginalized populations of this city. We call ourselves the most diverse city in the entire United States. However, we have a long way to go before we achieve true equality. In this video, I'm going to talk about a couple different things. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the many different causes of healthcare disparities and how they specifically affect minority communities. The second thing I'm going to talk about is the specific outcomes of these healthcare disparities, or why you should care. And the third thing is I'm going to talk about how you can help, how you can make a change in this system. The first factor in healthcare disparities is cost. In America, healthcare costs far outpace those in the rest of the developed world. People are often stuck thousands of dollars in debt for routine procedures. The cost can be reduced for Americans in two major ways: government programs and health insurance. Unfortunately, Texas is lagging behind the rest of the country in both categories. One of the main government programs for subsidized healthcare is called Medicaid. States have had to individually expand their healthcare programs to cover Medicaid under this new system. Here's a map of the states that have expanded Medicaid in blue. As you can see, Texas is not one of those states. This leaves over 750,000 Texans in what is called the Medicaid coverage gap. They cannot afford health insurance but are not covered by Medicaid. This uniquely affects black and brown Houstonians. Hispanic families are 4 times as likely to be uninsured as their white counterparts, and black households are twice as likely to be uninsured as them. This leads to unequal access to healthcare. Black and Hispanic households are far more likely to be unable to see a doctor due to cost than white households. Another cause of racial disparities in Houston is something you might not think about as often. If you happen to live in Houston, just look around you. Chances are you're near a highway or a major road. Cars are the primary way to travel in the city. However, if you don't have a car, the metro might not even serve you adequately. One resident facing problems with the Houston metro system is Janice Scott, a lady living in the inner city of Houston.
We only get a bus once an hour. That's a long time.
However, this experience isn't shared by everyone. Kyle Shelton, the deputy director for Rice University's Kinder Institute, explains how and why the transportation system is so different for urban and suburban riders.
Park and rides cater to suburban riders who drive to a location to catch a bus. Local riders have to catch the bus near their home and usually walk to a single stop.
The bus that's stopping, every other block, picking up residents going a half mile, some going 8 miles. They haven't been able to make the same investments and have chosen not to make the same investments.
In a city where 18% of black households don't own a vehicle, compared to 8% of Hispanic households and 5% of white households, this means certain groups lose easy access to key determinants of healthcare, such as employment opportunities, education, and even something as direct as access to hospitals. Housing is also a key determinant of healthcare. Legacies of redlining and severe residential segregation in Houston ensure that housing is separated by race. People of color are often concentrated away from high-quality schools, parks, and hospitals. However, they also have another insidious problem on their hands: pollution. We tend to think of pollution and climate change in general as the great equalizer, something that affects all of us equally, but this could not be further from the truth. Neighborhoods that are closest to Houston's ports and oil refineries tend to be occupied by people of color. This puts them at far greater risk for diseases caused by pollution and the caustic chemicals that these two industries use. In fact, Houston's Fifth Ward has tested far above the national average for cancer-causing chemicals because of industry and the Union Pacific Rail line. Take a guess as to who predominantly lives there. That's right, Black and Hispanic Houstonians. Now you might be wondering, what does this actually lead to? What are the actual consequences of this system? There are a few key healthcare outcome differences that I'll highlight in this video. The infant mortality rate for Black Houstonians is twice as high as the rate for white and Hispanic Houstonians. Black people in Houston have a far higher rate of HIV and AIDS than Hispanic people or white people, and the rates of hypertension for Black Houstonians are far higher than the rates for white and Hispanic Houstonians. Now, that was some pretty somber stuff. However, there are certain ways that you can help to alleviate and address these pressing issues. The first way to help is just to get out there and vote. Early voting started on October 24th and election day is on November 8th. Beto O'Rourke is a key candidate to address some of these issues. One of the items on his agenda is to expand Medicaid, which will give more than 750,000 Texans access to affordable health care. You could also look to the place where most of the actual work is done, the municipal government. You can email Sylvester Turner and make sure that one of his top priorities is increasing access to healthcare for all Houstonians. Finally, this QR code leads to a list of organizations that you can donate to and volunteer for to help in this cause. Remember, y'all, we have the power to change the world. With your help, we can live in a better, more equitable city that serves all of its citizens.